students. I'm going to talk to you now about ethos, pathos, and logos. These are three concepts that were developed by Aristotle in his book, The Rhetoric. And it's something that I studied for my master's degree. I actually have a master's in rhetoric, which is the art of persuasion. So I'm going to simplify Aristotle's theories, and I'm only going to talk about these three of the theories that go into the overall concept of rhetoric. The reason I want to go through this, and they touch on it in your book, but they don't actually go through it very much, and I think that that's a disservice to somebody who's studying speech, because whenever you give any kind of persuasive speech, and that can include any kind of soliloquy or monologue that you give in an argument, any speech that you give in an interview, anytime you're trying to persuade somebody of something, you will use one or all three of these concepts. And you should, because they will help you to persuade people. So I'm going to go through what they are and how you see them in everyday life. I'm going to show you a commercial where you'll see two of them in action. And I'll kind of give you some hints as we go along on how you should put this into your research, how you should put this into your speech. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is ethos. We've already gone through how in your outlines you will have a credibility statement. You put that in your introduction, and that is your start of your ethos. So ethos is whether or not we trust you as you're giving the speech. Do we want to believe you? And so the first way to establish good ethos is to tell people that you are qualified to speak on the subject, and that's your credibility statement that goes into your introduction. So in the beginning of this lecture, in the beginning of this video lecture that I'm giving right now, I told you that I studied rhetoric for my master's degree. So that tells you automatically that I am qualified to speak on this subject. That's great, right? But that's not enough. My ethos also goes to, am I an ethical person? See how ethos and ethical, they have the same stem for their words? So am I an ethical person? Do you like me? Do you think that I'm dependable? Do you want to trust me? Do you want to follow me? Do you want to believe me? So there's lots of different ways to tell people that you are a likable person. You can smile, you use good body language, you use open body language, and a nice open facial expressions. Use rhythm in your words. If you're reading a lot, then that tells people that maybe your ethos is a little bit questionable, because if you're reading for your speech, then it tells people maybe you don't know as much as you promised that you did. You see this a lot with politicians. We can see in the last election there were a lot of questions, why didn't Hillary win? And a lot of the time people said it's because she's not likable. She wasn't well liked by people. She clearly has the qualifications to do the job, but she wasn't liked. And so that was her huge downfall, and that is a big problem. If you can't be liked, if you're not relatable, people can't relate to you, they can't trust you, they don't think you're dependable, and they just don't like you, then it's hard for you to win in an argument or to change people's minds. So when you're doing your speech, you're going to start with your credibility statement. That's going to tell people how you are qualified to speak on this subject. As you go through your speech, you're going to want to be likable, be friendly, be approachable, be humble. That's a big one for people. People like when you admit your downfalls, or when you say that you're still learning on things. That makes you more approachable. It means that they can relate to you. They understand you more. You're not far off in the distance from them. Okay? So keep good body language. Excuse me. Keep the rhythm of your voice up and down, natural, act conversational. Don't use big words like jargon, or don't use any kind of slang as well, because it distances you from your audience. If they don't use those words, then chances are you're creating a barrier between you and your audience. So if you have to use some jargon, explain that to the audience, and try to be humble in the way that you explain it, so that they don't feel like you're talking down to them. So that's ethos. I told myself that this video was going to be short, so I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. Pathos and logos are a little bit different. Logos is the appeal to logical reasoning, and this is where your sources come in. So again, you have to be knowledgeable. You are a primary source in your speech, but we rely a lot on secondary sources, meaning other people, experts. We go, we do our research, we find what the experts say, and then we present it to our audience because this appeals to their sense of logic. Does it make sense to you? So when you go to buy something, you will think about everything that, let's say it's a car. You'll go to buy a car and you look at the car and you think, does this really fit into my budget? You try to break it down into your monthly payments. You think about your insurance. You think about who else is going to be driving the car. Is it safe? What does your brain tell you logically? Is this a good fit for your family? That's logos. So, I'm sorry. So you might do the research on this car. What did the experts say? Did Edmunds tell you that this was a good choice? Did Kelley Blue Book tell you that this was a good choice? What do general reviewers say? We do this a lot these days because it's out there and the information is really easy for us to find. So when you go to eat at a new restaurant, chances are you look it up online. You look, were the Yelp reviews good? Did Google say it was good? Is there anything on Facebook? Can I get a coupon? You'll do all this research. That is logos. It appeals to your sense of logic. And so when you present experts to your audience, you're telling them this makes sense. This is what the experts tell you to do. And so you're telling their little piece of brain that appeals to logic, go with me, because it just makes sense. Don't question it too much. Just go with me because here's what the experts say. Here's what Google says. Here's what Yelp says. Here's what OpenTable says. Here's what Facebook says. All of these reviews, that appeals to you. So that's logos. And I'm going to show you a commercial in a little bit that goes through the difference between logos and pathos. Pathos, and again, we can look at the stems of these words. Logos, L-O-G, logic, okay? Pathos, P-A-T-H, pathetic, empathetic, sympathetic. It appeals to your emotions. Again, when you go to see a car, you look at all of the reviews. You figure out, does this make sense for your family? What's the gas mileage? What's the insurance? What's the monthly payments? Can I really afford this? Am I stretching my budget too much? Ultimately, once you get into that car, you are going to make the decision with your heart. Do you love the car? If you don't love it, you're going to get out and you're going to walk away. Doesn't matter if it made sense on paper. You will walk away from it. Pathos is always going to trump all your other emotions, whether it's your logical reasoning, your sense of ethical likability, whether you trust the person who's selling the car to you. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. If I can appeal to your emotions, then I've got you. I used to work for AutoNation. And AutoNation is the largest automotive retailer in the world. And my job was to train the salespeople and the general managers in the automotive dealerships, in your standard side-of-the-road dealerships. I would train them on how to get people to step up. So they would come in and they would want the base model car because logic told them that's what they can afford. And my job was to teach people how to get them from the base model into the next model up. Because once you got them in there and they start to see all the little gadgets that they love, their sense of emotion, they love it. They get excited and they can't get out of that car. All of a sudden they will try so hard to find logical reasons why they need to step up, even though they already did the research and figured out that the other one was a better fit for them on paper. So that's what you really need to work on in your speech, any argument. Figure out what is going to appeal to your audience. Like what will make them feel happy, sad, angry, upset. How do you get those emotions stirred in them? Because if you can do that, then you will have your audience. Again, we see this in politics. And there is a downfall if you try to go for negative emotions, because that's the easiest way to get people moving. You appeal to their sense of urgency, like something is wrong, something needs to be changed because everything is bad and we've got to fix this. So people will jump at that. They will go. They feel like they have to move faster, and they will be more likely than if you try to persuade them on the happier side. However, if you try to persuade somebody using anger or fear, if you go for those negative emotions, your sense of persuasion to that person will be short-lived. This is not a long-term commitment they're making to you. And there's a very good chance that they will flip, and all of a sudden they were on your side and now they're completely on the other side. If you make people feel good, then they are more likely to be loyal to you. So as you're thinking of your speech, think about the emotions that you are trying to get from people. I'll give you an example before I switch to the other commercial. The PETA commercials or the ASPCA commercials that you see at Christmas time. We always see these commercials. I know you've seen them. The dogs in the cages and the Sarah McLachlan sad music in the background. The dog is cowering in the cage and clearly has never been touched, and it's all matted and looking incredibly sad, right? You feel so bad. It makes you feel guilty. They are appealing to your sense of guilt. However, these commercials don't tend to work, because once you've seen it once, you see it, and then you feel bad, but next time you see it, you don't watch. You tend to turn over or mute it or walk out of the room, just ignore it somehow, because it made you feel bad. You didn't like that. On the flip side, at the same time of the year, we see the St. Jude commercials, and they have a different way of going about it. They tend to show you the kids who are in the St. Jude's hospital, so they clearly need help, but they're always happy. They don't appeal to your sense of guilt quite as much. You feel like if you help them, there's a feeling of succeeding there. So it's a better way. You're more likely. I don't turn off the St. Jude commercials, and I have 2 rescue dogs, so I clearly fall for the rescue mission, but with the St. Jude commercial, I feel good. Like I don't walk away feeling horrible, bad, and want to almost pay just to make them go away. I don't feel that. So as you're thinking about your persuasive topic, think about ways that you can persuade people to feel happy. And as you start to go through your outline, you'll see that there's a visualization step. In your visualization step, you are supposed to be helping your audience to visualize, to imagine what the world will be like if they do what you are persuading them to do. So in that visualization step, try to give them something that is happy. Don't try to make them feel bad. Try to make them feel happy. The world is going to be a better place. They are going to get up out of bed every morning feeling good if they take the steps that you want them to take. So as you go through, you're going to do your ethos, which is your credibility, smile good, open body language, no jargon, talk to your audience like they are your friends, they are your peers. Don't talk to them like they are your buddies necessarily. You are still supposed to be professional, because if you do talk to them too easygoing, then you're going to come across as less credible, less knowledgeable. So there's a fine line there. Be conversational, but be professional at the same time. That's your ethos. Logos, use good sources, tell them where the information came from, back up any opinions that you have with other people's opinions, okay, or research that has been done. So that's ethos, logos, pathos. Pathos is the most important one. Make them feel good. Make them feel like this matters. It's a big deal. And if they can help, it's going to change everything for the better, okay? I'm going to show you a commercial now. It's an old I think it's Volkswagen. Actually, I said that, and it might not be Volkswagen. It's an old car commercial, and it goes through Logos and Pathos. So you'll see that, and if you would like to make comments about the car commercial and where you saw Logos and Pathos, please feel free. Enjoy.
Dear Left Brain, I bought us a car that has class-leading 35 mpg and a 5-star crash test safety rating. Dear Right Brain, I bought us a car with a 274 horsepower turbocharged engine and panoramic sunroof. Now both of you shut up and let me drive. The new Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.